Good morning and welcome to the Weekender.
Hello.
Good morning.
It's a lovely Saturday morning and I'm joined by Justin.
Morning. Again. Hey, come on.
And of course my brother Lloyd.
Hello,
Brother Lloyd in the house. Welcome to a jam-packed episode. We have quite a lot to go through.
Yep.
But first things first, my two buddies are leaving me today. They're off on a jet plane. Don't know if they'll be back again. Both of you heading back home to Ireland.
Yep.
And leaving me here.
Well, he's today, I'm tomorrow.
And you hit the fly.
Yeah, fair enough. I would swim home though. I would swim home. So you're both heading back to do your biz and see family and stuff like that. Say hello to my mum.
Hello, Mum.
Not now. Hi, Mum. She does watch this. And you're heading back and you're going to meet your... What would you call it? Your granny-in-law for the first time ever.
Yeah, she's across visiting from Russia.
Yeah.
I just have the image of her beating me with a rather large stick.
If anybody has watched,
least.
what is it, The Deer Hunter?
Yeah.
It's an old lady that chases a guy around with a big stick and that. I don't know if she's Russian or something, but it's definitely Eastern Bloc of some sort.
All right. Now, you see, I was imagining more Benny Hill, me running away.
What I'd be worried about, Justin, is if she ties you to the bed, right?
I'm not doing a Wayne Rooney.
No.
Jeez.
Don't even go there. I wasn't going there, dude. I meant if she tied you to the bed and clicked your ankles, Deliverance style. Oh, man, you really know how to lower the tone.
Open mouth, insert foot. It's my specialty.
Apparently,
Was that film not called Misery?
Oh, was it Misery? Where am I getting Deliverance from? Yeah, it's Misery.
Yes.
It's Misery I'm talking
All right,
about.
I've never seen either.
Basically, this woman kidnapped a guy, tied him to the bed,
Right.
got a big mallet,
Right.
and broke his ankles with the mallet, so he couldn't actually walk, and he was trapped because she wanted him. Mind you, if she.
So hang on, I'm lowering the tone whenever you're talking about me being taken as some form
that
of...
doesn't lower the tone because she wanted him to write a book. That's rather intelligent.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. Nothing to do with Rain.
Oh, okay,
Do you know what, guys? I think it's time to get on to the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so kicking off, Firestorm Armada Planetfall. Oh, dudes, this looks really good. It's from Sparta Studio.
Yes.
So this is kind of like the skunk works of Spartan.
Studio Sparta.
All right.
It's
You
looking,
know how I like to speak backwards.
Yeah, I know.
it's
So-
looking pretty.
It is looking really pretty. A little while ago, Spartan Games decided to spin off of Skunk Works. It's the only way I can describe it. To come up with really cool stuff. And they from that we've
Well,
had the
it's like-
Spartan Scenics.
Well, it's like their Forge World, isn't it?
Well, kind of. I can understand why they did it. You know, they had their main product ranges. You know, the most successful obviously being Dystopian Wars, which everybody loves. And then they did the Dystopian Legions, I believe, has come out of the Skunk Works.
Yeah, that's the 28 mil.
28 mil.
Yep.
And the other one, which I just think is absolutely fabulous, is the Spartan Scenics. That's the kind of a sci-fi terrain,
28 mil.
28 mil.
Well, they go from
laser
15,
cut.
28 as well.
Oh yeah, it comes in multiple
that's right, yeah.
multiple sizes, and they also have one of the, I believe it's a frigate from Firestorm Armada
Yeah.
that you can buy in 28 mil format, and I believe it's like the size
I
of this
think
table.
that's one of the Federation ones, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, and then
and it
they
comes
do-
with all the resin bits
Yeah,
that
the
you
resin
can
add-on bits.
glue onto it. So
Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about Planetfall.
yes,
It
Right?
cool.
yes,
Now we'll kick off with, the arachnid guys.
yeah.
The Ralthosa.
Ralthosa.
You see,
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, how do you say that? Ralthosa. Ralthosa.
Would you like to buy a file?
Now, what's really cool about these guys is, yes, they're kind of bugs, but not like every other bugs that you see in space that just run towards you in their buggy, fleshy form.
Yeah.
They have decided that these will be mega armored bugs,
Well, here's
but in
the
a
thing,
cool way.
right? By the bugs typically
Yeah.
have an
A
exoskeleton.
mindless sworm about them as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about their armor
we're
first.
talking
Okay,
about their
okay.
physicality here,
Okay,
Justin,
okay.
before you...
Okay. You want to talk about the physicality of bugs? Off you go.
That's okay. So, like a bug has a... Well, is it called an exoskeleton?
Yes,
like
an
bugs,
exoskeleton.
we have a skeleton on the inside, Justin.
Endoskeleton.
And a bug has its skeleton on the outside.
Exoskeleton.
And that's why they go crunch.
And that's why they go crunch when you eat them. Okay?
As you will find out.
As you will find out.
No, because we already have to take care of that. Because someone
Yeah.
pointed out we forgot about the century egg.
We will come back to that. If not in this episode, in a very episode very soon, we're going to come back to the food challenge. We haven't forgot about it. But anyway, they have an exoskeleton anyway, right? And if a bug was able to get to the size of like Starship Troopers bugs and these Ralthosa, okay?
Yes.
I don't think the physics of it actually work. But let's say the physics of it did work. Their exoskeleton is going to be made of something natural that's probably going to be harder than like a carbon fiber
kind of hyper-dense
thing
material.
anyway. So I don't see the point in then taking them and sticking them in armor. Do you know what it reminds me of?
Is it a Centurion?
Centurions. We're right back at the Centurions. They're armored anyway, naturally, and then you put them in more armor.
But I think their take on it was, we've created a bug sort of race that's intelligent enough to build spaceships and stuff. Why would they not protect themselves? Why would they just go, we'll go to fight in our undies?
Yeah.
Why would they not armor up?
The other thing I really like about it is they've taken the mechs and designed them as the bugs would design them. Because if you imagine a human designs a mech, you're going to design a humanoid mech.
Well,
Bug designed a mech, it'll echo the bug's form.
Well, first of all, from what I understand, one of the bugs is, for example, sitting on top of his mech. See, this big tall one.
Yeah.
Right, that's their main battle tank.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I think then the other smaller ones,
Line troopers.
it just is actually the bug then surrounded by the
Armor plates
by
and
the
stuff.
armor plate.
All right. Fair enough. Bugs don't have opposable thumbs.
Well, this is what I was coming to. I was trying to find a picture of what the
Ralthosa,
artwork to see what these guys looked like, to see how on earth they were supposed to do this. But then we've already accepted they've gone into space in spaceships.
Well, yeah, to be fair, do you know what? You're absolutely right. Because like in Starship Troopers, the way they got into space
They were
was...
farted into space.
They bent over and farted them out of their womb
That's a spicy curry.
into space. And that's exactly it. And, do you know, you guys are talking about bugs building things. I'm thinking about the bugs we have here on Earth. And the majority of times, a bug's... anything that a bug does normally comes out of its ass. Like you take spiders, comes out of its ass. You take wasps, its weapon is in its ass. You take bees, its weapon is in its ass. You take a scorpion, and it's kind of in its big long ass as well. So it's like, maybe these guys have fingers and thumbs in their ass, and they can just bend over. They could be eating something at the front and building something at the back.
So hang on.
Does that melt your brain, Justin?
No. Just it seems the most efficient workforce ever. I'm having my lunch break while still continuing to work on this.
Maybe you don't need an opposable thumb if you've got an extra arm to hold. Hold that there. Thank
you know what? You could be right, actually, because if you look at the robotics and stuff like that that's in factories,
Yes.
right, they tend to have suckers and welders and things like that there.
Or 3-point hands.
Or 3-point hands. So maybe if you... But here's the other thing,
sucks
right?
the thing up.
An arachnid has 8 limbs, 8 legs.
4.
These have 4.
And possibly two.
Perhaps 4 little stumpy ones.
It looks possibly like 2 arms or something. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. They're not a spider. They're only half a spider. So what does that make them?
Half as good.
A spide or a piter?
Half as bad for someone with arachnophobia.
So yeah, I like them.
I do like them.
I do
'cause they're
like them.
different.
I think they are very different. I do. I'm coming around to the idea of them being in armor. I'm just not sure how it works. And
Although,
sometimes
when I think of it, they call them bugs with 4 legs, yet a defiler has 6.
yeah.
Maybe they should have given 2 more.
Well, do you know what? I would imagine they'd not be hard to convert. You just get extra legs for them. But
But I like them.
it's something different.
I like the styling as well, because they've styled these to... Each faction pretty much replicates the styling of their fleets.
Yeah.
So these guys, the little shapes and stuff on the armor and all,
They're
Mirror.
recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
their faction.
You field Ralthosa, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got like 2,000 points of them. Never got a chance to play a game.
Yeah.
Because everyone downstairs was, this month we're getting into Firestorm Armada. It's going to be great. We all got it. We never played it.
Oh, you haven't got to play it yet?
No, it's a shame. Because I'm sure it's a brilliant
Right,
game.
what other factions have we got stuff for? Because
Let's see.
there are some tanks
These
that I
ones are
want to
cool.
get a chat about. So, now which faction's this?
I think that's the Federation.
No, it's the Directorate.
That's the
Directorate,
Directorate.
right.
Now, the Directorate, as you'll see, is hard as nails,
Yeah.
those tanks.
We're
That
looking
is.
at the Directorate main battle tank at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's big, heavy, chunky armor plates. You know, it suits the feel of them, even from their ships again. You know, because wasn't it you had Directorate whenever we all thought about getting into it?
Yep. Oh, well, actually, no. I have Federation.
Ah, sorry.
I have Federation.
Right.
There is some Directorate stuff about, but it's Federation. But this stuff here, I really like the big chunky armored plates of this stuff.
And at 10 mil, those big chunky armor plates will give you details that you can see.
Yeah, that's the other
at
good
that
point.
scale.
Is this is at 10 mil, but I imagine some of this stuff's going to still be pretty big because
So
the scales.
when you all buy it and dry brush it, it's going to be easy.
Yeah. No, you see, the one I really like for this is their flyer.
Yeah,
Because it's sort of that twin propeller hovercraft thing. It's really, really cool.
well,
really
it
predatory.
actually looks like the G.I. Joe Hawk flyer.
Oh, yes, it
Oh,
does.
yeah.
That we have a couple of them that we've been just waiting for a project to do it.
Yeah, I think
Might
I
be-
actually deconstructed one of those ones.
Yeah, we could maybe do something Mercs wise with them, but it has that kind of rotary engine type,
Yeah, and then the
vertical
wings
takeoff
that
type
spin
thing.
around to
I
go wherever
love
it
that.
wants.
And it's got all the
Yeah.
Gribblies. Gribblies make things look great, don't they?
Yeah.
Gribblies do two things, right? The Gribblies, first, it adds so much interest to the actual model itself, and then secondly, it makes it very easy to paint because your washes just
Yeah,
do.
they go into all those deep
does
details
so
and then
much
just
for
come
you.
up out the way.
If you base coat it, wash it, give it a very, very light dry brush, that's half the job done.
Yeah.
Maybe more than half the job done.
Yeah. All right.
Moving on. Look at this sleek.
Ooh.
What are we looking at here? The Cyber Warfare Tank.
Now this I find very interesting. There's an interesting design dichotomy. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, between if you take Spartan on one side and Deadzone Commander on the other. They have different design philosophies, which I find really interesting, and they're both equally interesting. They're just very different. In Deadzone Commander, what you'll find is they play more in three-dimensional space. Okay, so the shapes of the ships, you know, they'll have more kind of wings and stuff like that there, and the actual outline of the ship or the whatever it is will be more intricate. There's a more intricacy to it. Whereas Spartan, they seem to have kind of a more surface detail approach. So that whatever reason they've chosen that design approach, it's more of a solid mass of resin, but then lots of surface detail, whereas the other maybe lots of individual pieces of resin that give it a much more three-dimensional look. They're both really, really cool, and they're both really different as well.
And they're both 10 mil.
And they're both 10 mil, but this particular tank I find very interesting because I really like what looks almost like solar panel honeycomb type effect on
Now,
it.
on the picture, it looks cool, right? But I'm wondering, once that's cast, is that going to be one of these ones that just suddenly becomes really flat at the bottom?
One of the difficulties is on the picture, as we're looking at it now, they've got this kind of reflection map thing going on the panels. So the panels look like they're reflecting the light of the sun and stuff like that. That's going to be quite difficult to do unless you do some kind of non-metallic type approach to give it that kind of reflection map. And if you don't give it that kind of reflection-y kind of map, the only option I can think of is actually giving it a metallic finish so as it'll pick up the light from wherever you're actually playing.
I have no idea why you're answering that. That's not the question I asked.
Well, you said it'd be quite flat looking.
No. He means the actual base of it. From looking at the image,
When you get-
it looks as if the entire hull is flush to the ground.
Right, when you take a Spartan tank, a lot of them are cast with a completely flat bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And the tracks just sort of go into it, and there's no end detail. It
Yeah.
just flattens out real quick.
Yeah, but that's part of that's a manufacturing decision. That's a manufacturing decision, and if you look at any of the land stuff for dystopian wars and whatnot, it's all that same way because that's how they cast.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that the two companies cast in very, very different ways.
That's your downside.
So-
You get lots and lots of super detail. Looks really cool, but then it just flattens out. There's no underneath.
There's
Yeah.
one thing I'd like to point out about this armor type that we're looking at.
But it also, one second.
No worries.
That also has a benefit in making them look rock hard. You know, they're like stuck to the ground. They look rock hard. So there is a
solidness.
Yeah. There's a benefit to that as well. It really does give your stuff. It makes it look really, really weighty.
There is another faction though coming up, but we'll get to that in a minute. Is there anything else? Nope. Let's move on.
Well, hang on. I wanted to point out one thing about that tank we were looking at.
Yeah.
Which one?
That one.
The
with
warfare.
the nice hex armor. It actually echoes an armor that the US military are working on at the minute, which is a thermal camouflage plating which goes onto the side of their tanks. And with that, they can actually make the tank go from looking like a tank on a thermal imager to looking like something like a mini.
Yeah.
Because of the heat output from it, because it gives off that particular signature.
Which you'll have seen on Top Gear if you watch Top Gear.
Yeah.
Now, are you talking about on thermal cameras?
Thermal
cameras.
You're not talking about ordinary...
No, not optical camouflage.
Optical.
This is thermal camouflage that they've been using and working on, which looks really, really cool.
Because I think some of the optical stuff that they're working on is amazing. You know, I've seen optical camouflage where they've made a tank completely disappear.
What, to the naked human eye?
Yep.
Right, that I'm going to have to look up.
Well, what they have is, you know, I believe it's using fiber optics and stuff like that now. So what they're able to do is to take what's at the back and then project it at the front by moving it around fiber optics.
So hang on, there's a camera at the back,
Yep.
which takes the image and then reprojects it to the other side via fiber optic.
Projects it to the front.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
Really cool.
there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in terms of invisibility cloaks, and I have a feeling that within our lifetime we'll probably see some actually really effective invisibility cloaks, so which will be really good for you. Anyway,
Well, there's movie ugly, TV ugly, internet ugly, and then there's me.
moving on. Get to the faction that has the orange tanks, or
Here you
kind
go.
of because it's.
Let's go to the faction with the orange tanks.
Now, who are these guys here?
This is the Teran.
Teran.
Right.
Now, this I really, really, really love.
So it's the Teran MBT main battle tank.
Yeah, that just looks like it's evolved from the Abrams.
Yeah,
It just
does look
looks
like
like a futuristic Abrams, or
looks like it could be going.
Or what do you call the Israeli tank? Is it the Murkov?
Merkava.
Where they
I don't know,
have,
the Merkava's a little more sleek than that.
Yeah, but the Merkava has it's basically a modular tank, isn't it? Where they just have modules
technically
for
a back-to-front tank because it's got the engine at the front and an escape hatch at the back.
But the engine and all, it's all modular. You can just whip it out and just bolt in a new module.
It's like Leopard 2. Whenever they're changing one of them, you just drop the back, the engine's a complete package, undo the connections, drop it out, drop the new one in, redo the connections, off you go.
This I'm really loving. I just think that the two tanks that they have. What's the next tank?
We're
called
looking
then?
at the heavy tank now.
Yeah.
So the first one we looked at was the main battle tank.
Yeah, it
Now
reminds
we're
me
just
of Red
looking at
Alert
the heavy
2 for the
tank.
main battle tank.
Yeah.
You remember the old mammoths?
Now, looking at these pictures, I'm going to say it again. You can see that they've got in these pictures the treads and stuff are kind of going underneath.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've maybe come up with a way of giving it a bit more. Maybe it's a two-piece or something.
No, the bottom of it will still be entirely flat.
You think so?
Yeah, the bottom of it will still be entirely flat.
Well,
I'm pretty
for
sure.
this one, the way it's looking, I would say the two sides will glue on and the turret will glue on.
Do you think so?
I would say you'll have at
And
least a
that's how they'll
4-part
give
mini
that-
on that.
Yeah, that's how they'd give it that more
Yeah.
dynamic
Feel to it.
cast.
You know, with the casting process they use, you can see the flat points that they would need to use to actually cast it in the style they use already, instead of having to change the process.
Well, time will tell on that.
Yeah.
No,
How-
here, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
No, because I was going to move us on. So
This is the one that I like.
yes, this is it. I'm going to have an army of these, and I'm going to spend the entire game annoying my opponent by going 10-4, brother rubber.
The Prime, what is it? The Prime Mover Trooper Carrier. What? The Prime Mover Troop Carrier. Yes.
Yeah. How
So hang on,
cool
it's
is that truck?
PMT?
Yes, it's the PMT.
The PMT. Dynamite. I love it. This is just
It's
awesome.
really cool.
I like
Absolutely awesome. I want those at 28 mil Spartan. You know, I want those, man. Just how cool. I'd stick my Space Marines in them. I believe they're even sick enough that they could carry Centurions.
I love it. I love it because it's got those big aliens tires on it.
Yes.
Yeah, the old APC that they had.
This is just so cool. And out the back of it, is that a rocket at the back of it? You know, like a rocket
No,
propulsion?
it's
no?
a minigun.
Are you
is that
sure
a
that's not
minigun?
the front?
No, the front would be there, Justin, with the window.
Oh, sorry, that just kind of looked like a cab section at the back.
Yeah. I've mixed it up as well because I thought the top picture was looking at the front as well because it looked like a truck. It looked like a cab for a truck. So I'm looking at it backwards.
That's easy done.
Yeah, well, it's not so good now. I preferred it better whenever it looked like a truck that was roaming along.
Paint the windows black and paint the other end blue so you can have your truck cab.
No, we want it this way around, like the combined harvester of space.
Combine harvester.
Or one of the old harvesters from Tiberian Sun.
Well, if you buy me one of them, I'll give you the key.
No, you're not singing.
So yeah, that's some sick stuff for those. Now there's one. We've time for one more faction.
We do. Once I find where I've put the pictures.
I think this will be the Ceruleans.
Here we go.
Yes. Now.
So let's see. What have we got there first, Justin?
First up, we have the Cillian Collective. It's a set of 3 of them. So we have a light walker, a heavy walker, and a medium walker.
Well, let's fine.
No, I'm trying to get to each of the 3 so we can get the name.
Right, okay.
So the heavy walker is a big 4-legged heavy thing. It's got that really nice sleek design, just like the ships do.
Yeah.
And what appears to be some kind of particle weapon on its back.
Which is, well, it's better than a particle accelerator on your back.
Nah, I'm going to say it again. Obviously, could they cast that just in one piece?
No, that'll come as multi-piece.
Which lends weight to this idea that some of the other tanks and stuff will actually be multi-piece rather than just one cast.
And I'm not saying Spartan aren't capable of doing it. They are absolutely capable of doing multi-piece stuff.
Yeah.
A huge amount of their stuff has multiple pieces, because it's got turrets and stuff like that. But they're smart guys, and they've worked towards the kind of like the minimum number of casts, because remember they have to do a ton of this stuff.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, all the resin stuff has that nice flat piece on the bottom for setting it down on the board.
Yeah.
The turrets and stuff are all metal spin casts, I would assume.
Well,
so it's 2 processes.
Anything it's metal is obviously one cast, but if it's resin, then it's a poured drop cast as well. So
yeah,
but these ones I find very interesting. I particularly like this next model we're looking at because what is that? Is that an extra? Is that like an extra drone for it, or is that a backpack we're looking at?
I think that flies off its legs or something. I'm not sure.
No, I think it might just be a separate miniature.
See, that bit there is the same as that. So maybe it's just 2 miniatures.
I think
here it is. Yeah, flying drone left, obviously.
And medium walker right.
Now I'm a big fan of drones. I don't think we have nearly enough drones in our war games these days.
Speak for yourself. Tau is full of drones.
Well, yeah, but I would like to see more use of drones. I think drones could have a big effect on war games. Like I'm playing Flames of War at the moment, okay, and I'm practicing like mad for this tournament today. I'm in a tournament today. My first ever tournament. I'll be talking more about it in XLBS, so please join us there, and I'll give you the rundown on it.
We know because we had a chat with Dave, and he was telling us all about your King Tiger bouncing all around the table.
Right, well, Warren, you're talking about drones and Flames of War. I have something just for you.
What's that?
The Germans actually had a remote control tank.
Yep.
Filled with explosives.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a drone.
Yeah, it is.
That's a booby trap.
It's a little RC tank that they could drive about without having to risk anybody.
What was RC about?
What's it RC for?
RC, remote controlled.
All right. I thought you meant it was just a little tank that was pissed off with everybody. No, what I'm talking about is one of the dynamics in Flames of War that I've really enjoyed is I have a 4-gun artillery piece at the back, 10-point something artillery. Yeah. And this artillery piece has 2 forward observers, okay, that I get to place further up the table, and then they give me my line of sight. And I really love that dynamic of maybe having a drone, especially if it's a fast drone, that may be used, for example, the helicopter rules from NAM, where the helicopter, basically any turn, can go anywhere on the table because it flies at 100-odd miles an hour. I really love the dynamic of that, of having drones that just completely throw your opponent, because you can suddenly then run barrage from anywhere or smoke from anywhere.
So in other words, it's that major annoyance that they're kind of having to try and take out early, otherwise it screws them.
If this particular item ends up being like a drone of some sort that can act as a forward observer, because really that's what all drones are these days. They're you either use them what the Americans use them for, which is for assassinating people, or you use them for intelligence and as forward observation and stuff like that.
Well, there was one I saw on FPS Russia, little 4-rotored drone, loaded up with a machine gun and explosives.
They built that themselves, didn't they?
What I want drones to be
I don't know if
used
they built
for,
it themselves, but I remember seeing it.
I want the Tesco delivery drone.
Well, this...
That's called your underpaid worker.
Are we even allowed to go there? Because apparently that has been... some company set up and is doing that very thing in the States.
Yeah?
Where they have drones, and they're going to use drones to deliver parcels in one of the major cities. So I'm going to go off that, because that's probably a segue too far.
Yeah.
But that is actually being looked at. So what else have we got here for these guys?
That wraps up that faction. They've got their main...
Well, they've got a major flyer as well.
Heavy walker.
Yeah.
Oh, where?
Down. There. Oh no, that's their heavy walker. Sorry.
That's the heavy walker, yeah.
So they have the heavy walker, the medium walker, and the flying drone at the moment. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, it's all looking really, really interesting to me. And I'm really looking forward to it, especially now that I've started to come around to smaller scale games. You know, when I say smaller scale, I mean, you know, obviously 15mm and 10mm games. I just think it's just a really, really interesting scale to game at. So, next up, on the topic of sci-fi, Deadzone.
Exciting stuff.
There's some really cool stuff coming out for Deadzone.
I really like what I'm seeing. Because when I first looked at Deadzone, I thought, yes, this is going to be a nice game. It's going to be cool. But I was looking at all the troops and thinking, yeah, all them corporation troops, they're all really cool looking.
Yeah.
Really nice, but they're all kind of faceless.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the site today, and there's pics up, and all of a sudden I'm going, oh, yes! Minis with character to them to this game too.
Yeah. There's just some really nice stuff out for it at the moment.
Well, you've got
if we talk about
the new orcs,
yeah,
which was the first image there,
yeah,
which looks like a little kill team for them. So you've got your little goblin sniper, you know, your heavy weapons orc, you know, commander, and then this cybernetic dog, which just looks to be...
Well, it's like a dog with the iron jaws.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like the last dog in the world you'd ever want to meet.
I'm loving the big orc. You know, he's in his armor. He's going, I'm ready.
Are we doing this bit again?
No, we're not doing the.
Okay. No, it's not Centurions again. No,
no, not doing Centurions.
Yeah, but it's there. You know, as you had said, you know, obviously they got the core troops, and the core troops were, you know, they're faceless corporation because the corporation is kind of faceless anyway. But I really, really like some of these kind of specialist sculpts that they have.
This guy, I have no idea what he is. This blue.
It's one of the rebels.
Yeah.
Because in, the Warpath universe, you have your corporation, which is going out conquering everything.
Yes.
And then the rebels fight against them, which is all the leftovers of the races that they've conquered.
Yeah, so what is it?
All coming together and gelling. I have no idea exactly what he is.
Oh, you don't know what he is either.
I know he's a rebel. I know he's one of the rebels.
You upfront me out like, I don't know what he is. But he's this Lloyd.
But
that's where you're going to get all your flavour for all your different weird gribbly aliens.
I understand. I underdig, Justin. You're telling me that's where all the coolness is going to come from.
Yeah. At least,
for example, I'm just going to flick over. Look at this guy.
Yeah, the little winged dude with the green face.
The flying bug guy.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool. Although I love some of the human designs they have for it.
Yes, I particularly like the little blonde guy with the rocket launcher. I think it's almost like a little manga-esque kind of feel to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's which I think is great. We also see some shots of the Teratons, and I have been surprised by the Teratons. There with you were on them previously, but the Teratons, the whole community has went mad for the Teratons, which are basically just big armored turtles.
Yeah.
Not what he has on screen there.
No, that's the...
I don't have Teraton pictures.
Yeah, you did. You were past it there.
No, I think you're wrong. I think that's, again, the plague.
Yeah, so I was
okay, well, it looked like a Teraton to me, but the Teratons started out kind of as... not a joke, but I suppose just a kind of like a test, I believe, from Mantic. People just went mad for them,
and they're going to be in Deadzone as well.
I think so. Yeah, I think that they've been in. They're in Dreadball, And I think either they were in Deadzone and making it into Dreadball, or they're in Dreadball and they're making it into Deadzone.
Well, either way,
there's a bright future for the Teratons.
It is the same universe.
they're in the
and
universe.
It's all built within.
So
Yeah. These guys here, the Plague.
Yeah.
There's some cracking Plague in this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then you have these weird little monkey dudes in the red armor.
Yep.
Because I think they've made it into Dreadball as well.
Yes.
You know, I think it was a little green painted team of cheating little monkeys.
Yeah.
You know, which I thought was really cool, really cute.
and then there's been some talk on the side about the guy that looks a bit like a predator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now he had a name. I read it, but it's
You
gone
forgot it.
completely out of my head. He's looking cool too, but it just at the core of it, the main thing I'm taking is just this ability to buy in minis that make everything look really unique and interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you
so-
can take all those minis and stick them in your Warpath games as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the
It'll be
the old red
interesting to
versus blue.
see. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Warpath going from here. Because, to be fair, I think Deadzone's going to keep us all occupied for a long time anyway. So they may well just go off and just continue to expand Deadzone. And one of the things I want to talk about Deadzone is the terrain looks so cool.
Yeah.
What the guys have done with the terrain, it's all modular, and there's so much of it because of that Kickstarter. There's literally tons and tons of different designs and cuts of the terrain.
If I remember right, I was talking to Ronnie, I think it's reusable as well. You know, rebuildable if you don't glue it
Yeah,
together.
well, what it is it kind of snaps together.
Yeah.
So you can get the terrain pieces, and it kind of all clicks together, and then whenever you're finished your game, you can click it all apart.
Yeah, or if you've played a few games with it and you want to change it up, just click it apart, rebuild.
Which is one of the difficulties I had with the Cities of Death stuff. Is I love the Cities of Death terrain. I think as terrain pieces go for its time, it was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. But when it was built,
That's it.
it was built. And how many Games Workshops did you ever walk past and you saw these huge Cities of Death buildings that they had built, these big, massive, imposing towers, and you go, oh, I want to build that. And if you had the money, you might have been able to get all the stuff to build it. That wasn't the problem. But it's what do you do with it once you built it?
But
How do you store it?
the thing is, the City of Death is essentially modular.
Yes.
But they built it in a fashion that they all needed glued permanently together.
Yeah. So it's what ways around it? If you were handy with magnets, you could probably do it, but that'd be a total pain in the arse for me.
It
I
would
don't
be a
think I could be
hell of
bothered.
a lot of magnets.
But with the stuff that Mantic has done, this stuff all just clips together, and then when you're finished your game, you can clip it all apart. Or if you prefer, and you have a bit of space in a shed or a garage where you can stack boxes and stuff, you can build it up and glue it together and then put it all down.
Yep.
But the beauty of it is, and what really kind of sold it for me, was when I was chatting to Jake Thornton. I was asking him about the terrain. He said, well, actually, the terrain was designed from the outset to suit the fluff. Because I said to him, what was the idea behind the modular terrain? And he said, well, look, it's like this. The corporation go out to these worlds, and they have things obviously to do in these worlds. They're trying to conquer these worlds or bring supplies or medicines
set
and
up
things
research
to
centers.
these worlds. So what they have is they have these modular terrain delivery systems.
Yeah, so essentially a flat pack base.
Yes. So what they do is they deliver these containers, okay, on the planet's surface. So these containers come dum, 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 dum. They empty the containers for all the research equipment, supplies, food, everything else, and then reconstruct the containers into actual buildings, so nothing is wasted. And I just thought, that is so cool.
Kind of how you would have
That
to
is
do it.
so cool. So I can see now, you know, if it was me and I'm doing a gaming table with this at some point, I don't know if you'll agree with me, Lloyd, but what I would love to do is a Warpath gaming table with this stuff. And at one end of the table, I just have containers all stacked like containers. Maybe the doors open and supplies kind of inside one of them.
Basically moving through the building
Yeah.
process.
And then over at this side, actually have them deconstructed into buildings.
Right.
So you have buildings on one side of the table, and then just raw containers on the other side of the table, and then you can...
And what, have the middle as half constructed
Yes.
stuff? You know,
Yeah.
half broken down?
I don't understand. If it's supposed to be utilitarian like that, how come some of this terrain I'm looking at, here's an example, has Gothic sort of styled windows and things?
Because we've all learned from 40K that you can be in space, be modular, and still have style.
And skulls.
And skulls.
But who does it match? Who does that? Because when you get skulls and gothic looking terrain in 40k, you know it matches in with the Space Marine fluff and all this. It doesn't match a corporation.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
I don't know. Maybe
the
architect was having a bad day that day.
To be fair, Mantic are not stupid either, you know. And if they create one sprue that maybe 40k players look at and go, actually, I could use that. You know, it's a bit of a no-brainer to be fair, you know.
That's fair enough.
But we'll see. You know, it's I just can't wait to get my hands on the stuff, and I'm going to try and do a begging session up in Nottingham to see if I can get enough of it to make my dream table come true. So yeah, Deadzone is nearly upon us, and
It's getting difficult to know what to go into. There's so many cool things now.
yes,
You're just looking at it and going, what? What am I going to collect? What am I going to play? Oh my God!
No.
well, it's like, you know,
Yes!
it
I have so many things on my list now.
Yeah, but you see, I walk into the gaming hall and go, ooh, shiny. Oh wait, but there's that. But I've already bought this. Oh well.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've talked about the golden age of wargaming. It's not slowing down. It isn't slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up. You know, when we started, like, we're going 5 years now, okay? When we started, to be fair, there wasn't an awful lot out there. You know, there was stuff going on. It wasn't completely empty, but in those 5 years, the rampant quality, and then the big massive disruptive influence in the whole thing had to be Kickstarter.
And Indiegogo?
And Kickstarter, yeah, well, crowdfunding then.
Okay.
Crowdfunding changed everything. So it did. And you know, we'll talk about crowdfunding in more detail in another episode, because you know, you have this whole thing with does crowdfunding hurt the retail stores and stuff. And you know what, in some cases I would say, yeah, there are some companies out there that are probably doing the retailers a disservice through their crowdfunding, because
The problem being that all the orders are already placed and they're circumvented the retail.
if they're using it purely to drive pre-orders, I can understand it, because companies want to recoup their investment as fast as possible, and this is one very, very quick way to do it. 30 days, you haven't shipped a thing, and you have all the money there. But there's got to be a better way for retailers. The other side of that, though, are projects where it's not a pre-order system. They genuinely, the effects of the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding thing means that they're able to develop so much more. Like, you take Deadzone, for example. I know for a fact that Deadzone wasn't one of those kind of a pre-ordery type things. I'm not sure any of them, to be honest, are a pre-ordery thing. You hear that, that's just a pre-order exercise. I'm not sure any of them are, because the stretch goals for these big campaigns, I'm convinced that those are products that probably would never have seen the light of day only for the Kickstarter.
Well, let's look at the War Machine Tactics one. Now, fine, it's a video game one. But once they hit their target, you saw stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal, and you could see exactly where the money was going after that to make it.
You probably couldn't have picked a worse example.
Really? Fair enough.
Yeah, because it's a video game. It doesn't help retailers at all. Right. Let me give you an example on Myth by the guys from Mercs.
Okay.
Right. I know for a fact that if Myth hadn't met its original goal,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been made. They couldn't make it. They wouldn't have had the capital and stuff in place to do it, right? And all of those stretch goals after that were only possible because of the Kickstarter. I can't say the same thing for the last Zombicide. I'm pretty sure it was like that for the first Zombicide. I'm not so sure if it was like that for the last one. I don't know for sure.
Zombicide seemed to be, to me, to be at the other end of the spectrum. They made it, and it was just a matter of...
Well, you see, they can give that impression, but Cool Mini are just really, really good at it. So we've got to be careful of the fact that just because the company makes it look easy, that probably means it's very bloody hard work.
Yeah, or have...
Now, I know for a fact that Deadzone, okay, if Deadzone hadn't hit its funding goal, we probably wouldn't have seen the light of day. Deadzone probably wouldn't have made it out, because it's also a really good ready reckoner for discovering whether a game is worth making or not. And then all those stretch goals, I'm convinced you probably wouldn't see any of them if it hadn't have been for that. So the upside is, there's lower kind of pre-orders for the stores. The other side of that is, though, the manufacturers need to work harder with the retailers to try and make sure that the ongoing uptake, because by this stage, they have maybe 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people already bought in. They're receiving all their stuff. I know they always try to get the stuff to the guys, the pledgers first. I think that has to change. I think they need to build enough that it goes to the pledgers and goes to retail at the same time. And the reason for that is whenever I'm shipping all that stuff out to the guys who have pledged, they're going along to their local clubs and their local stores saying, "Ooh, look at all my goodies." If I was a store owner, I'd want it on my shelf so that anybody else that's looking at it can turn around to me and go,
"Give me now.
Shut up, take my money."
The other thing with them turning up and going, "Oh, look at all my goodies," as you put it, is everyone else goes, "Yeah, that's great," and then he's sitting there on his own because he's the only one with the goodies.
Yeah. So there's a kind of a possibly, we all know that war games and board games have a kind of like a slow burn, where they can continuously build. It's not like a video game where it all comes out 1 week and then within a month that's it. That's the next game. These games have a slow burn and they build up players as they go along. But there is a window of opportunity that whenever you've got 5,000 people around the world all running around and all they want to do is talk about that game, there needs to be a mechanism to work with the retailers during that period to say, right, we've built a marketing engine here, okay, and you have the opportunity to capitalize on it during this week. And then reaching out to retailers when the manufacturing and all is being done, and you do not ship until you're able to ship to both parties. And I think most people that would back a Kickstarter would accept any company saying, you're not getting your stuff first, you're getting your stuff at exactly the same time as it goes to retail. Because we need
the real
we need
downer for retail though is if a company does a Kickstarter, has a great successful run at it, and then very quickly moves on to another Kickstarter relating to that game and shifts their core audience on. So every time the shop's behind because they've shifted the core audience to the next game and to the next game and to the next game.
The one thing I would say about the Kickstarters is have a core release set that will go to both your pledgers and your stores, and then have Kickstarter exclusives which go exclusively to your pledgers at the same time.
Yeah,
then they still feel like they're getting the extra.
I don't think there's any problem with Kickstarter exclusives per se, but you've got to be careful with that. Kickstarter is there to fund the development of stuff that really, if you should then be taken to the marketplace, to retail. I'd love to hear if you're a retailer. Post over here on Beasts of War because you'll get lost in among the comments on YouTube. So post over here on Beasts of War because I would love to hear your take on this because I'm one of these people that believes there's the potential for abusing Kickstarter, but I do feel that Kickstarter has a real legitimate place in our industry, and I think it's done the world of good to the industry. And I'm pretty I know. For example, Dreadball within, I think it was a couple of months of release, had sold more through the retail channel than it had on the Kickstarter. So there is the potential there for retailers to capitalize on it, but I think it requires maybe some more organization and more partnership.
It's a complicated sort of thing, isn't it? Because you can also say that the Kickstarter, for example, Dreadball came out, and then did they kickstart Dreadball Season 2?
It was all in the one.
It was all in the one.
It was all in the one.
Dreadball
You had a staged
Season
release
2,
with it.
Season 3, it was all in the one, and then they stage released it after that.
And Ultimate was in number one?
Yeah,
everything.
Ultimate was Season 3.
Everything was all in the one Kickstarter. So it's do you know what? It's something we'll explore because if we get some comments from retailers and things like that there, I'd be interested in it, and we'll come back to this in maybe the next episode.
Okay.
Right. Game of the weekend!
Right, what have you pulled out this time?
Right. Okay. All I can do is just show you. Right. So this is my little game of the weekend,
Got a
okay?
quiz cam.
And it's called Love Letter. Now, I know.
I'm looking at this dubiously, to say the
I'm going to move
least.
your drink to make sure we don't spill it.
Yeah, let's not destroy anything.
Okay, to be fair, This is not. At first glance, it doesn't look like a particularly macho game, which we're all gamers. We love
When you
our
took it, I
macho
went,
games.
what?
However, it is a fabulous little game. It's been #1 on Board Game Geek now for a while. Okay, and for very good reason. Okay, it's a great little game. It can sport up to 4 players, so 2 to 4 players. Okay, and if you've ever played Citadels, which you have played,
yes,
with
I have
me,
played. You like to screw me over no end.
I'm going to bring Citadels onto the show for a game of the weekend to show you that. It's like Citadels, but in Citadels there's a component where you're building your citadel.
Yeah, you're building a city.
Right, and the other component is you're trying to screw
Money
people over
as well.
But you're trying to screw people over with your cards and stuff like that by saying, "Are you the bishop?"
Yes.
And stuff like that. And I'm always the bishop, as those guys out there that have played Citadels with me will know.
Yeah, the people who were at Grumpy Old Wargamers got to see you and your gamer rage at the end of the day, which was funny as hell.
It wasn't gamer rage. Everybody picked on the fucking bishop. So, anyway, this is just the screwing people over in a deck.
Well, here, crack it open. Crack it open, because you're winding about it. Let's see if it's any good.
So first off, you get this beautiful little red pouch, which I took home, and my other half kind of looked at me with a raised eyebrow, and I said, "Well, it's a very attractive little pouch." Some people like to accuse BC4 of being QVC. This is it. This is the QVC
that gentle little stroke down the back. That velvety, soft little feeling.
A beautiful velvet. When you're not using it for your gaming, you could carry your jewels and your gems and everything. So, anyway, let me show you the contents. So, let me just gradually prise open the little opening.
Being very delicate, are we?
And then inside, you have 3 components. You have your little love letter rulebook, which is totally small and doesn't have an awful lot of rules in it because it's quite a simple game to play, as I'm about to show you, and hopefully I don't muck it up. Okay.
Right.
Secondly, you have your cards. Okay. And you'll notice the thing about your cards is your card has a name of the person.
Can you move further into the screen?
There you go. Your card has a name. This is the Baron. And he has a number. That's his value. Okay, so his value is 3. And then you have what he does. And you and another player secretly compare hands. The player with the lower value, which is here, is out of the round. Okay, let me show you another one. This is the King. Trade hands with another player of your choice. So you could play this card and then swap hands with another player, and you'll see he's value 6. Here we have the Handmaid, and it says, until your next turn, ignore all effects from other players' cards. So this is a good card for protecting you, as I'll explain in a second. And so on and so forth. This is a good one here. Yeah, there are multiples. This is the guard. It's the lowest points. And the guard is name a non-guard card and choose another player. If that player has that card, or he or she is out of the round. So, for example, if I played that card, I would say, Justin, are you the Handmaid?
And if I happen to have one.
Yeah, well, I think by default you're the Handmaid anyway. So there's another Baron. There's a Priest, so it allows you to look at another player's hand. There's the Prince, where you can choose any player, including yourself, to discard his or her hand and draw a new card. And then you have the Countess, which is the second highest card. And if you have this card and the King or the Prince in your hand, you must discard this card. So anytime somebody discards that, there's a very good chance that they have the Prince or the King in their hand, in which case if you have a guard, you'd play it and you'd go, are you the King? And then there's a chance of you actually catching them out. So as you can see, all the multiples there, and then this is the main card. This is the card you want to try and end the round on. This is the Princess, and if you discard this card, you're out of the round.
This has been described to me as when you end on the Princess, you've managed to deliver your letter.
Yes, and that's why it's called Love Letter. It's all about delivering your letter of love to the Princess. Okay? The other thing you have in the deck is this, which is the little list of cards to describe to you what all the other cards are to help you make your guesses and things like that. So, I'm going to give each of you one of those, and I'm going to show our viewers at home the last little component, which is this. And it's the only disappointing thing in the box. And I say it's disappointing in that these are your little counters that whenever you win a round, you get...
Draw them up.
Whoa, you get one of these. Okay? So basically, if I win a round, I get one. And if I win again, I get another one. And then it's the first to 4.
Okay.
So whoever gets 4 is then the overall winner.
Got it.
The reason I'm disappointed...
Whoever gets 4 little red cubes.
Yeah, who can work out between you two why I'm disappointed with just this one component?
Should have been little gemstones.
Nope.
Lloyd?
You're along the right lines, though.
I have no idea.
It should have been little love hearts, dudes. They should have been little tiny love hearts, you know, because that would have completely completed the package, and then create complete and utter gamer fear every time you whip them out. So anyway,
You could buy a pack of hot lips, I suppose.
so if you're
Or
playing
just
two
get the little red gems
players,
that we have.
Don't you get little fruity things that you can eat that are like
Yes,
little love
and
hearts?
yeah, the Haribos.
yeah,
I get a bag of Haribos.
right.
And that way you can eat your winnings.
Okay, so what you do is you shuffle it up. If you're playing 2 players, take 3 cards out, okay? This is just one of the ways that we play it. So you take 3 cards out. That makes sure that what's in here is pretty random. And the princess may not even be in the deck, in which case at the end of the round, it's whoever has the highest number that wins, okay? When you're playing with, say, 3 players or 4 players, you're probably best just taking the 1 card out. So I'm going to take 1 card out. You then deal 1 card to each of the players, and you put the deck in the middle, okay?
Yep.
You can look at your card, okay?
Right.
And then I'm going first, because I'm me, and I pick a card, okay? I look at my 2 cards, which I'm going to show to you guys.
Which we see.
Okay, so I have
Which
the
we don't see.
so I have the Baron. You and
just told
another
us.
player. Right. Well, hang on. You and another player can compare hands. The player with the lower value is out of the round. Or I have the Guard. Name a non-guard card and choose another player. If that player has that card, he or she is out of the round.
See,
Now,
see if you have that card. Don't do something dopey like I did.
yes. Well, Lloyd, if I played that, I'm going to compare hands and the player with the lower value is out of the round. If I played that, I'd be a nutter because I would have a value of 1.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no point in playing that until you have a high value card, something around a 6.
Right, so hang on.
6
It's
and above.
the card that's left in your hand at the end of the round, which counts towards it.
Yes. So in this case, there's no point in playing that. But at the same time, this is going to be quite a difficult card to play as well because it's the start of the game. We've only had 1 card each. You haven't seen anything come out, so it's going to be quite difficult to guess.
Yeah.
But I've no choice in the matter. So I play it in front of me, okay? And I say, Lloyd, do you have...
That's Warren's card.
Yeah, so I play that and I say, Lloyd, do you have the Prince?
No.
No, that's fine. So then, Justin, you lift a card?
So I'll lift a card.
Am I not supposed to be on 2 cards by now?
No.
Oh, you're working
no,
round to me?
You work
Yeah.
round to you. So
All right, well, for me, I'll show this again under close camera so
Yeah, go
everyone can
ahead,
see. So I've got the priest and a guard.
Right, no, you've the Prince.
Oh, the prince and
So
a
the
guard,
Prince
sorry.
is 5 points, the Guard is 1 point. So the Prince, you can choose any player, including yourself, to discard his or her hand and draw a new card.
Yeah.
And then you have the Guard, which we all know what the Guard does.
Yeah, now, as you said, I'd be a nutter to play the prince at this stage, so I'll
Yeah.
play a guard. I'll continue to pick on Lloyd, and I'll say, Lloyd, do you have the Baron?
No, I do not have the Baron.
Okay, now Lloyd, you pick up a card.
I get to pick a card.
Now, you play that in front of you, just so as you know what you've played.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we were just putting them on close cams so they
Yeah.
can see it at home.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we'll play them under close camera, then draw them back.
Right, so Lloyd, put your 2 cards under the camera so as we can see what you've got.
I don't want to. They're really good cards.
Well, we'll do
I
it
laugh,
anyway.
he is the princess.
Okay. Oh, he does. Now, that's going to put Lloyd at a disadvantage getting the princess so early in the game. But he has a priest, which allows him to look at another player's hand. And then he's obviously going to have to play that. But actually having the princess this early in the game is a little bit of a disadvantage, actually. So you would obviously play the priest because you'll lose if you play the princess. So whose hand would you want to look at?
Yes, for example, if I played the princess, I'm discarding the card. I'm dead. I'm gone.
You're dead. You're dead. In which case it would then come down to us
Yeah.
to see who's got the highest.
Yeah.
So I play my priest, look at another player's hand. I'm going to look at Warren's.
Okay, and then I'd show him mine and he'd see that I have the Baron. It then comes back around to me.
That doesn't mean a lot until you've played a few rounds, because then you get the grasp of what all the cards do.
Yeah. So in this instance, I have the Baron and the Guard. I would obviously probably play. In fact, I know I'd play the Guard again, and I'm not going to pick on Lloyd because I know exactly what he has. But I'll say, Justin, do you have the King?
I would look at the card and go, no, I don't.
Okay. So then it would be Justin's turn. You pick a card.
Okay, so this time I will play the Baron.
Yep.
Because the other one's still higher.
Uh-huh.
So I would secretly look at your hand and my hand.
You would compare your hand and my hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And you'd have a 5, I'd have a 3, and therefore I'd be out of the game.
Yep.
And then the game continues with you.
So
and
Lloyd.
When I play my Guard,
Yep.
and I didn't really pay attention to what was going on, so I'm just going to guess, do you have the Baron?
No, because I just played the Baron.
Oh, I wasn't really paying attention, was I? I was thinking.
So it would come.
Oh, wait, hold on, this'll help.
Yes, that's the whole point of this card here, guys.
Do you have the King?
No, I do not have the King.
Ah, balls.
But that's the whole point of that card there,
Right,
is
so-
it makes it easy for you to look.
God damn it. Discard the Countess.
Right, and he has to discard the Countess because he has either the King or the Prince in his hand.
Yep.
So,
Which is
Now I know he has the Prince, because if
You
I
asked
knew
if
the
I had the
cards,
King.
last time I asked Eve, yeah, exactly, do you have the King?
yeah. So now
so-
you would know, so if you draw a card and you were lucky enough to get you got the King this time, okay? The King allows you to trade hands with another player of your choice. You are in trouble. And this is a perfect example because Lloyd, this is exactly why I was saying it's really dangerous to get the Princess early in the game.
Because I'd be trading her.
Because you've got the King, you can't play the Princess because
'Cause
if
you
you play the
lose.
Princess you lose. So you have to play the King, and by playing the King you have to trade hands with Justin.
And he
At
gets
which
my-
point I get the Princess.
At which pace you get the Princess,
I get
okay, and then
Prince.
Justin gets to draw a card, and all being well, this will work out. Justin gets the Handmaid, and the Handmaid, if he plays it, until your next turn, you ignore all effects from other players' cards. So Justin plays the Handmaid, which means he's now protected, and then Lloyd would lift a card, which would be a Handmaid, which protects him, and then it's Justin's turn. He would lift a card, and he'd have a guard, and then
which
Justin
Which point he'd get me.
at which point he'd get you because he knows you have the King.
Yep.
And bang, there you go.
That's actually a really clever, really
What
simple little game.
Well, do we want to?
Fucking beautiful.
Do we want to
little
try
game.
playing an actual round?
No. I think that's enough for people because to get the gist of it, guys.
I suppose we are running. Yeah, we're running well into time now.
In terms of a review,
Easy, fast, I like it.
it's a fast game. You know, after one round of playing, you really start to get to grips with it. After 2 or 3 rounds of playing, and once you've seen a round like that where it's explained to you, you see the dynamics of each card and how they interact with each other.
Yep.
You really get to grips with it.
If you're
It's
not
so
in,
much
if
fun.
you're not into card games, I'm thinking you should maybe start trying to look into card games, because I was never a big card game player.
Yeah.
But recently I've started looking at card games and going, I fancy a real renaissance with me in card games.
Yes. We see the thing is, right? We often
Because
look at
Magic
card
and stuff put me off card games.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a different type of game.
That heavy.
It's a collectible card game.
It's just so heavy, it just put me off the entire thing. But then you pick up something like that and you just go, it's immediately fun.
And
Yes.
see, I would prefer an LCG to a collectible card game any day of the week.
Right. Well, for the benefit of our viewers at home, can you explain to me the difference between an LCG and a collectible card game?
Right, you pick up an LCG, you have
Right.
everything.
LCG stands for living card game.
All right, living card game. You pick it up, you have every card you need to play the game in one box.
Okay. And why is it called living then?
Because there are then expansions which you have the option to buy.
Okay. Grand.
Whereas
Why
with
does
a
that make
collect-
it different from a collectible card?
Because
Well, a
you
collectible
get
card
everything.
game. Yeah. In a living card game, you buy the card game. Then an
Yes.
expansion box comes out. You buy that. You don't need anybody else to buy anything because everything's in the card. Like I don't need to go out, for example, to buy it because the one box is enough.
Yeah.
In a collectible card game, you are buying boosters that you don't know what's
Blind
in it.
buys.
So it's all the blind buying and stuff. That's a bit. I love Magic the Gathering. I really do enjoy it. I'm not great at it, but I do enjoy it. But like you, I don't have an awful lot of disposable income, and blind buys I find frustrating because I have to make my money count. You know, my spends on the hobby, I really have to make them count. With the blind buys and stuff like that.
I think it's the uber sort of competitiveness that you get from this.
Yeah, that meta.
From Magic.
Yeah.
Whereas something like that is just sit down and have some fun.
Well, that's exactly why I rate this game so highly, guys. And it's great for the family. So if you're sitting at home with the girlfriend one night, or the boyfriend, or your mum and dad, or whoever,
it's a bit like Old Maid on steroids.
Well, it is a bit.
Kinda.
It is a bit. It kind of all stems from that. But like you know, when we got into this, we got into it for all the miniature gaming and stuff like that. But I think, you know, we've seasoned as we've been in this, and we're now more open to trying lots and lots of different games. And Love Letter, the reason I wanted to get it on the show is because it's so unlike anything Beasts of War would typically put onto the show.
Yeah, it's so unlikely for one of us to actually pick up in the first place if we saw it sitting.
Yeah.
I
guarantee you that if your friends, or if you were at a gaming store and somebody said, "Do you want to come and play Love Letter?" you'd probably turn around and say no.
Does this work with 2 people?
Yes.
Is this yours?
Yes.
I'm going to take that home and I'm going to try it.
There you go. I've played it with my other half.
I'm going to try it with my other half.
And she loved it. So you take it home and try it with yours. Okay, that was Game of the Weekend. So, moving on. Before we get to the last segment, this is my pitch to try and get you to join backstage to come into XLBS. In XLBS this week, I'm going to be talking about the Flames of War Grand Tournament. We're going to be looking at the latest X-Wing miniatures. Woo! And we have a bit of special kind of GW related news just at the very end that I'm going to talk to the backstagers about. Backstage is our little subscription service. It's what allows us and what funds and keeps the electric going, keeps the servers going, keeps the cameras going, keeps everything going. It pays not just for backstage content, but the backstagers, their contributions, is what allows us to make the Weekender, the unboxing videos, the battle reports.
Basically, all front stage stems from the backstagers.
And the themed weeks. None of that would be possible if it wasn't for the support of the backstagers.
And of course, we wouldn't be able to send our love letters.
And we wouldn't be able to send our love letters. So if we can, we'd love to invite you to join us on Backstage. It's a little monthly subscription. You can cancel it anytime. You could hop in for a month, check it out. We have loads and loads of painting tutorials. We have some terrain tutorials. We have another terrain tutorial going up very shortly. We have downloads for terrain that you can download the terrain and print them out.
We have the new vlog series which is starting up.
We have the vlog series that comes out midweek, Wednesdays, Thursdays.
Yeah.
So there's a fair bit going on in there, and there'll only be more and more go on, because every time, the more backstagers we get, the more we're able to actually do.
Well, actually, I recently counted. We're well over 13, nearly 1,400 videos online now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of content online.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget just how much content we have up. Okay, so moving on to the last thing, I want to talk a little bit about the UK Masters for Warmahordes. This is a tournament. You will have, if you've watched any of our recent War Machine coverage, you will have seen Kev, the fountain of knowledge for all things Warmahordes. Kev has organised a UK Masters, and it's taking place at Tabletop Nation in Essex. And if you want to get involved, there's a URL that we're going to bring up on screen. It's a really, really good event. It's a really good War Machine event. One of the interesting things about it, because I was having a chat with Kev about it, is a lot of the War Machine tournaments all kind of happen in a block. Yeah. So they all happen over the same 1 or 2 months. What he's done is by hosting it when he is hosting it, he's widened it out. So the actual calendar for War Machine tournaments is now a bit wider. And there's something down in the south. So if you can make the journey to it, it's well worth making. So there's 7 50-point battles. Chest clocks are going to be used to time games. If you want to see how that works, check out the battle reports that we have up.
Final part went up on Friday.
Are they using the chest clocks in there?
Yeah, they're using the chest clock in it. Kev gets down to like 12 seconds to win the game.
Is it just frantic hand movements going?
Yeah, he had one moment, he had one turn of the game where he was able to do so much and kill so much stuff, but he left it that his opponent had something like 7 minutes or 15 minutes
Basically,
left.
Mike had a lot more time than him. He was on the wire.
Yeah, so he's just boom. Watch the battle report to see what
each
happened.
game for that Grandmasters is 1 hour per player to get your game in.
Yep.
If your time runs out before it's over, it's over.
It's over. You've lost. The chest clocks idea is so cool. I know Alessio Cavatori was the main proponent of introducing chest clocks via Kings of War into the tournament scene. I'm tempted to use chest clocks in the vast majority of our battle reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be pretty much everywhere.
Because it'd be great for us from a production point of view, because we know exactly how long a battle report's going to last.
But the other thing is, it's on the 29th of September.
Yes.
Starts at 8:30 in the morning. That's a Saturday.
There's no painting requirement.
Yep.
And there are prize sponsors. There's going to be prizes and goodie bags. And there's the big proper trophy from Privateer Press as well.
Yep. And I think there's patches and stuff as well for best of factions and stuff.
So, if you're up for it, why not come on down? And I believe there's a big, massive Halloween party after the event as well.
Yep.
So, to give you the date, just in case, it's the 29th of
September.
October. No, it's got to be the 29th of October, is it?
I'll double check, but I think it's September. I'll put an overlay just to
You
say.
wouldn't have a
how's the
Halloween
Halloween
party
party?
on the 29th of September, Justin.
Then
so-
maybe there's a typo where I got the info from.
So, we'll get the date is on screen. So anyway, guys, I think we're going to call it.
Join us on Sunday.
Yep.
Yep.
XLBS, which is the extended, extra long version of the Weekender for Backstage, goes out tomorrow morning. So if you fancy it, why not hop onto Backstage, check out all the other stuff we've got, and there's other previous episodes of XLBS that you can watch there. They're still a lot of fun. And then tomorrow morning, you can hop on and watch the.
You get to see us, lovely people.
Just one thing I want to point out. If you're on YouTube and you're wondering where to go to actually join Backstage, it's beastsofwar.com.
Yeah, www.beastsofwar.com.
And who wouldn't want to see this face on a Sunday morning?
All right, guys. On that note, we're going to leave it. Look, thank you very much for joining us again this Saturday or whatever day it is you've joined us. Have a great, great weekend, and we will see you next week.